Drunk driving. I chose this because people should not drink and drive and they should be responsible. Just one more drink or just one more shot won't do any harm, but in fact it will. How many of you drink? How many people do you know that drink? Drinking and driving is a very serious matter, and not many people take it seriously. Most Americans do drink and drive. In Texas, 59 out of 100,000 are arrested a year for a DUI, according to drunkdriving.org. Don't drink and drive. You could get arrested, or worse, you could kill someone, or even you could die. This speech is to talk about not drinking and driving and to be responsible and to be safe. Going out to a bar or going to a friend's house is okay. But when you decide to drink and drive and go over the legal limit of .08, you're not being safe. You need to find a new way home. We have many people going out to parties and not thinking or thinking about what could happen or will happen if you go into the car and you drive home. Many people like to go out with their friends and have a good time, but by the end of the night you may not be able to. According to LiveTips.com, over 40% of fatal automobile accidents are alcohol related. That is almost half of the accidents people are getting into due to drunk driving. Getting into a car under the influence is a mistake because now you are part of the statistic and not good, and not a good one either. If you're drinking and driving, then your car becomes a silent missile of harm and death that you might not even know about. Know your limit. Some people, their limit is under .08, and some people, their limit is above .08. But remember that if you've had 1 to 2 drinks, you're most likely above the limit. To help keep an eye on your limit, you can buy a breathalyzer. Most breathalyzers start at $29 and go up. Just keep an eye on how much you drink every hour, because every statistic out there, all those little tricks don't work. Drinking a hot coffee doesn't work, doesn't help get rid of the alcohol. Eating bread, going pee all the time doesn't help you get rid of the alcohol. You still have the alcohol in your system. You may not feel like you do, but you do. A good solution to prevent driving while intoxicated is not to drive at all or to call a cab. Calling a cab is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. To many people, calling cabs to get them home instead of driving, or calling someone to help you get home, helps save lives. AAA around Christmas time has a service that will allow them to drive you home for free if you live in a 10-mile radius from where they pick you up. So if you go party at a friend's house a few blocks down and you don't want to walk home, you can call them and they can come help you get home. Bars are starting to get together and help people get home. According to JimAdler.com, the state of Texas, there is a law that is called the Safe Harbor Law, which allows bartenders to actually get away if you get into an accident. They get away with not getting sued because they have this special license that allows them to cover their business, saying that, oh, well, we thought that he was okay to drive or she was okay to drive, but in fact they knew you weren't. But since they have this special license, they can get away with it. So if you try to sue them for letting you go home drunk, then you're not going to be able to sue them. According to DUILiveTips.com, one person is killed every half hour due to drunk driving. If you remember to keep an eye on your drinking and have a plan for someone to take you home or find a different way home, then you'll be in a good shape. Keep the positive and negatives in your mind of drinking, and remember, don't drive. positive about drinking is you can have fun if you have a good way home. And negatives about driving or drinking is if you don't have a safe way home, then you could get messed up and you might kill someone or you might kill yourself. About 30% of Americans will crash due to an alcohol related accident. Tonight I want you to go out with some friends, go to a bar and see how much you drink and see what your BAC is, your blood alcohol content. Don't drink like it's a race. Just drink how you normally would. And on the hour for however long you're out, you need to count how many drinks you have, and you need to carry a breathalyzer and see what your BAC is. Remember, if you take that one last shot or that one last drink or chug that beer, you might get into a car accident or you might be spending the night in jail with fines, with $500 to $1,000 fine. I ask you take a stand and tell your friends to make sure that they have a safe way home tonight and don't get into an accident. Thank you.
What are some of the reasons someone would decide to drink and drive?
They think that they're invincible and nothing will go wrong, and they aren't thinking because they're intoxicated and just want to drive and get to home.
When you decide you're going to drink somewhere, how do you prevent yourself from having to drive intoxicated?
I always make sure I have a designated driver to take me home, and I always either stay at home or go to a friend's house where I know that I can always spend the night if I need to.
Do you know anyone who has driven intoxicated and gotten a DWI as a result?
I do. He was driving home and got pulled over, and as a result, he got deferred adjudication and now is on probation and has to do a breathalyzer every time he enters his car.